These were the names of the titles of the nobility. Duke is the highest rank of the nobility, and Marquis was the second. If it's an European nobility, it's in this form. European other than England, and in England it was this form, okay? And the next one was a count. It's in European countries other than England. And earl, it's count and earl is the same thing, but earl, you call it in England, all right? And then next one is viscount, and the next one is baron. These are the titles of the nobility. For your background knowledge, people. Okay. And then soon after that, more groups were made, and they were called the Elizabethan acting troops, okay, and they were named after Queen Elizabeth, okay, who was the queen at that time. Elizabethan acting troops. After, if you name something after someone, that means you give the same name as someone to something, all right? Who was reigning. What does reign mean? Reign means to rule, okay? Rule. Ruling monarch. Monarch is a king or a queen, or an emperor or an empress. And among those groups, there were lord strangers' men, admirals' men, king's men, and Chamberlain's men. These were the names. Chamberlain's men was, in the end, the most important troop. Okay? Alright. So what is this part about? This part is about the actors. The actors were the lowest. They were in the lowest social state, all right, and they were called in a bad name by the people, such as rogues, scoundrels, all right, and they were threatened by the law, okay, so they were in a bad condition, okay, and they needed permission to move around the country. But the acting troops were formed. Okay? This is what this part is about. Okay. These groups were supported by nobles, the high-ranking people, who gave them a little more rights. Back means to support, okay? Nobles is the nobility, which means the noble people. Being in a high social class and having a title, right? Even that was the case, they were controlled by the higher people, and they were censored, okay? They were regulated. What does regulate mean? Regulate means to be controlled by rules, okay? Official is a person that holds a position of authority, okay, high position in an organization. Could be censored. If you censor something, you officially examine it and take out the parts which is considered to be immoral or inappropriate, all right? The reason for this restriction, okay, was mainly that the actors thought they could express their thoughts on religious and political topics of the day when they were in the middle of the performance, okay? Suppression, what is suppression? Suppression is not stopping people from doing something using force or making it illegal, okay? Primarily means, most importantly, felt at liberty. At liberty means you can do whatever you want to do. Issue is a problem or the thing that people are talking about, okay, in a certain time. When actors got very excited and lost control of themselves, they acted in a way that's not planned, okay, and they expressed the opinions that most people don't like, or at least what the government didn't like, and the officials would make them pay money or put them in prison as a punishment, okay? When the actors got carried away, if you're carried away, right, you are very excited, you get very excited and you lose control of your feelings. That's being carried away. And improvise means to make something with whatever you got, all right, or do something in a way which is not planned. So you just do something on spot. That's what improvise means. Unpopular means most people don't like. Crown is the government which has a king or a queen, okay? Fine means to order to pay a sum of money because that person has broken a law or did something illegal, right? Imprison means to put a person, keep a person, lock up a person in prison because they have did something illegal or opposed politically, all right? Imprison, if you have IM, that means make something in a state of this. So imprison means to put someone in prison. Do you understand? So what is this part about? The actors were made were made acting troupes, right? And they were sponsored and supported by the nobles, all right? But they were still regulated by officials and censored, all right? The reason why the officials censored them was because a lot of them thought they could reveal their religious or political opinions, and those opinions were unpopular ones, or the ones that the crown didn't like. Okay, so that's what this part is about. And then the last part. At first, the troops went to tours in the British countryside to do performances. They normally acted in the courtyards of the inns, all right? Tour is an organized traveling, okay, of the people, such as musicians or politicians or the theater companies. they go to different places and do a performance or meet people. That's with politicians, right? That's what touring is. They had to tour the British countryside. They typically means what? Normally, right? Typical is the adjective of type. Okay, type is a group of things that have the same characteristics, and typical means having the most usual characteristics of a kind. All right, so it means normally. They normally acted in the courtyards. Courtyard is what? Is an open area of ground which is surrounded by buildings or walls. All right, courtyards of inns. What is an inn? Inn is a small hotel or a pub, usually an old one, okay? But in 1576, James Burbage was the leading person, the important person in the theatre, in the British theatre, and opened the first theatre in England, which was called the Theatre. And this name is very appropriate. James was a leading figure. Figure means what? It's a person of importance or well known. Theatrical means of the theatre. Appropriate means what? It's suitable or acceptable in a particular situation. So the name, the theatre, is appropriate. Why? Because it's simple and you can know the meaning directly. Okay? There's nothing complex about it. This gave his group a home, a settled home. Okay, it means a home forever. Permanent means forever. Soon after that, other theaters were built, and more actors didn't have to travel around because they had a theater in which they could stay. Thespian. What's a thespian? Thespian is an actor. Okay. Abandon means to leave somewhere for a long time. Okay, or stop doing something. Itinerant. What does that mean? That means going from place to place. Okay. And working there for a short time and moving to another place. And luckily, before these troops completely stopped traveling, a few of them visited Stratford. So it's the name of a town where the young William Shakespeare lived, and the fact that they visited the town inspired him, and he followed one of the group back to London to be a person who writes plays as his job. You understand? Inspired. What does that mean? Inspire means to make someone want to do something, usually something unusual or new. Okay. Career. It's a kind of job or work that somebody has for a long time in his life. All right. Playwright is a person who writes plays. Okay. So what is this part about? At first, the troops had to tour the countrysides, and they performed in the courtyards of inns. But James Burbage founded the first theatre, okay, and soon after, other theatres were built, and the actors didn't have to tour. Okay, they could stay in one place to act.